young men getting involved in doing that. We see poor school outcomes. And then also there's mental health issues that start to, come as a result of that. And we see just the risky behavior of substance abuse and even getting involved in gangs. And so because of that, we first did the research and then we came up with, hey, we know that mothers matter. You go to any prison, guys will talk about they'll have tattoos of their moms and, van my ma en praat van my ma, but they don't talk about their dads.
Yeah.
And so Fathers Matter is one of our programs that promotes the positive and active presence of men in the lives of children. And that's to benefit the children, benefit the women in their lives, but also to benefit the men themselves. And it's all about raising awareness about why fathers matter. It's about starting conversations in churches, in workplaces, in the community, in NGOs, with sports clubs, and even in schools. But eventually, we want the families to start to talk about what the role of the father actually means within their lives.
Yeah, but why is fatherhood such an important issue in South Africa, Wesley?
I think because of the research that tells us that, it tells us that there's a need to help men to play the rightful role within their families. There are so many reasons why men are absent in the lives of children. We can talk about economic pressures. So men feel that they can't provide financially, and so they don't qualify as good fathers. Yet there's other ways in which they can provide stability and care and love and guidance and a number of other things. There's the cultural practices, especially within our ethnic black communities, the issues around lobola or inklaulo, which is damage price that you have to pay if a woman is pregnant, and where the child fits. Is it with the mother or is it with the father, and whose role it is? And then there's the conflict of relationships. Often children are caught in the middle with parents. When they separate, they used as pawns. They could be used by a mother to get back at a father. And then there's the lack of knowledge and skills. Are you guys fathers by any chance?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
yes,
me
they
too. Yeah.
both are, yeah.
Okay. Ricardo, you're not there yet.
Yeah, no, I'm a father. I have a son.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, which fathering school did you guys go to?
Yeah, good question there, Wesley. Good one.
Definitely a good question.
All right. So no, I haven't, until now, I don't remember going to a fathering school. I've got 3 adult children. I never went to a fathering school. The place we learn about fatherhood is from our own fathers. And if our fathers are negative, if our fathers have been abusive, if our fathers have been absent, where do we get that from? My own experience of my own dad, when I was wondering, does he not understand what's going on in my life when I was a teenager? He's got no clue what he's doing. And then I had to reflect and realize, hey, my dad's dad died when he was 6 years old.
Sure.
He had no father figure within his life. And besides that, part of the challenge we're facing is that there has been, with toxic masculinity and a whole range of things, men have ruled in their homes in a way that has not been glorifying to God. They've misused scripture to rule over their families with, like a tyrant and not in a loving way. And a lot of that meant that a lot of younger men, and those even who have grown up in the church, have resented that style of fathering. And actually they moved to the other extreme where, it's very relaxed and there's no discipline and there's no clear boundaries that have been set. So we need to help men gain knowledge and skills. And, men, we don't want to talk about what we don't know because it seems as if we're weak. But if we don't get the dialogue going, then how are we going to help,
Exactly.
So through Fathers Matter, we've developed tools and support through the films. There's 7 films that we have. It's 30 minutes long. With the films, there's a discussion guide. And you can actually use that film just with your family, just with a group of guys, friends of yours. I mean, we watch rugby together, so why can't we watch a movie together about fatherhood?
Yeah.
We have one of our in George, our Fathers Matter has started to take it into the community, and they screen it on the walls outside against homes. The walls of a house.
Yes.
They screen it against there, put up the
Amazing.
speakers, and we find a whole community coming to watch the movies, like
Wow.
the old drive-in movies. And so just exposing people to that. We've also developed digital tools, which I want to talk about right at the end, to help fathers in this journey.
I'm going to quickly jump in and just talk about men and mental health before Ricardo jumps in. What is it with us men that
Yeah.
we don't want to prioritize our mental well-being? You brought it up in the very beginning, Wesley. You said this is one of the things that men are struggling with and one of the reasons why we're seeing gender-based violence and issues in the home. What is our inability to want to talk about stuff and share stuff?
Yeah, I think one of it has got to do with man's just our lack of emotional intelligence.
Mm,
We don't talk about our emotions because we've been raised in a way that men don't cry. There's no outlet for them to be able to say how they're feeling against things.
mm,
I remember speaking to my dad, and my stepmom, who's just a few years older than me, was pregnant, and my dad was 60, turning 60. That's my age now.
sure.
And I now went to go and talk to him like a son, but also with a bit of pastoral um, desire to help my dad. I said, "Hey, how are you feeling about, this baby coming along?" And he looked at me with a straight face and he says, "What's done is done, my boy." You know?
Yes.
And it was like, there's no discussion around this. He's not talking about his feelings. It's matter of fact, there's no, and men haven't learned how to express themselves. And so what happens is it comes out through violence, it comes out through their frustration gets used on other people or
Mm,
on other situations. Um, so women love talking about what's going on in their lives and in their hearts, but men struggle to do so. And
mm,
that pride in man causes them to struggle to ask for help.
yeah.
Now, we're into Movember, it's to raise awareness that mental health, you can have a good mental health or a bad mental health. Whenever we use the word mental health, there's also like, the stigma attached to mental health. Actually, if you've got a healthy mental health, and you're healthy, then that's good.
Mm,
That's positive. Um, and that doesn't mean to say that you don't go through times when you feel down or when you're frustrated or anything like that. It means that you know how to manage that and your coping mechanisms is right. When you have a bad mental health, is that you don't know how to cope. You don't know what to do about those things. And so the other thing that we discovered is that many men and women, but especially men, are walking around with what we call father's wounds. Um, and those are neglect from their father or over controlling father. A father was abusive both physically or even verbally. A father who may have been overcritical and you could never do anything right. They're always finding something wrong,
mhm,
or you're never good enough, or there's not any affirmation that's going on in their lives. And so oftentimes men have not processed that. That hurts are still there. And so out of that, they father their own children and they haven't recovered from their own hurts. There's a
mm,
saying that says hurt people hurt people.
yeah.
And I think those are some of the reasons, because if men find healing and they take care of their emotional health, they will listen better, they will connect deeper, and then they will model healthier habits for their children. I have three adult children. The way they relate to me now, a lot has got to do with how I connected with them and spoke about my own emotions. I would tell them when I was angry,
Mm,
or I'm unhappy, or I'm feeling frustrated. And my wife has helped me to do that. So that's where women are very helpful. They ask, "How you feeling? Tell me in your words how you're feeling." And can I encourage any woman that's listening here to help their husbands to learn how to communicate what they're feeling, not to keep it in. They can say, "I'm angry," if they don't have
Yeah.
to act angry.
Yeah.
They're declaring their emotions. And so the father's wound is something that also comes about because of a lack of communication. If I share my own a story of my own life, and I think it's always helpful. My parents got divorced when I was 17, on my 17th birthday. And I had to make a decision of who I could stay with. They gave
mm,
me the choice, and I went to live with my dad. And if you ask me what my relationship with my dad was, my one word would be frustrating. Yet I chose to go and live with my dad.
mm,
Firstly, because I think deep in my mind, I knew that I wanted and I needed boundaries and the security of my dad. And my mom would not be able to provide that sufficiently for what my needs were. But I am the eldest son, and I'm the one that played rugby, and my two brothers who went to live with my mom, they played football. My dad played rugby. I played in the same position for the same club. But my dad only came to watch me play 3 times in my rugby career, and I played up till provincial level. And I was angry about that for many years. Um, and as I was doing the Fathers Matter program and talking about father's wound, I was reminded about this wound in my own life.
Mm.
And then I started to reflect on it, and I realized actually my dad was doing something good. I had 6 days of the week I had with him. I lived with him. But my brothers only had a Saturday, and that Saturday he devoted himself to going to support them, watch them, and spend time with them. And yeah, I was getting all upset that he wasn't spending time with me
Mm.
and about my sport. How selfish was I?
Yeah.
The problem was that my dad did not communicate that to me. If he had to say, my son, you have the whole week with me. This is the only time I have with your brothers. I'm going to be spending time with them. You know what? I would have been okay with it. I would have actually understood it. But the lack of communication around those things caused me to have what I call the self-inflicted wound. And it's got to do with communication. So, yeah, I think men need to learn how to communicate their sadness, their stress, their hurts, their frustrations without feeling judged. And other men need to help with this because other men are the biggest culprits, you know. You don't want to share with other men because you don't
Mm.
want to come across as being weak.
Exactly. Wesley, I'm going to
So
quickly jump
I
in
was
here.
so,
Quickly want to jump in
yeah.
here. We just have a few more minutes, then we've got to move. We've got to go to the next thing on the show. I don't want to miss out on the
Hmm.
products. You mentioned that a little bit earlier on for Heartlines, the Fathers Matter products, and how people can get involved
Yeah.
and sign up. I don't want to miss out on that. If you'll share that with us, please.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to go onto our website, www.fathersmatter.org.za, you can get everything free of charge. You can
Mm.
download questions. The films is available on YouTube, but if you go onto the website, that will take you to the link. You can download the manual to discuss that. We've also got another one on fathering for ECD, that's early childhood development. So
Mm-hmm.
if you've got young children, there's a great film called Playing Dad, which is our newest film. And you can access that also via the website www.fathersmatter.org.za.
That's the voice of Wesley Van
And
Graan.
then the
Yes,
last,
sorry, jump in there
um,
quickly. Just quick.
yeah, the Fathers Matter Coach
Mm-hmm.
is a WhatsApp tool that we have. You're not joining a WhatsApp group. You just, you're having a coach that you can ask questions to, like, how do I talk to my teenager about respect? Or what do I do when I've lost my temper? Type that in and it will give you some tools and answers of what you could actually do. And so if you, and I'm going to give you a number now, 060 058 2107, 060 058 2107, and then just type in the word hi in WhatsApp. Hi, HI. And then it's going to ask you for 1 or 2 questions, your age, how many children you have. And then from there, you can use that as a digital tool that is non-judgmental, and you could learn, ask, and grow as a father. It even sends out nudges. So in this month, it's sending out nudges around those things. And for us at Heartlines, even with the GBV situation, we are this month on a campaign to say, hey guys, it starts with us stopping it. We are the guys who can speak to it and do something about it.
Thanks so much. We're going to end it there. That's Wesley Van Graan, Heartlines Community Mobilizer and